Hello, I'm Joseph Barker, and welcome to the Finding Ability podcast. A place where people are able, adaptable, brave, loving, and exceptional. This is a place where we get into deep conversations about how we can make our lives better and how we can make the world a better place. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever time it is while you listen. Hello and welcome to Finding Ability. I'm Joseph Barker, and today is going to be about how to bulletproof your body when it comes into the winter season. And so right now in the world, looks like we're coming into another lockdown. Winter's coming. COVID numbers are soaring, and it's pretty easy to get lost in all of the riffraff and all of the fear-mongering and politics and divisive thought processes and news, politics and blah, blah, blah. It's easy to get lost in all that, but what can we do as individuals to bolster our own health during this time? A lot of people are afraid of getting COVID or afraid of spreading it to people who are going to be at risk when it comes into that. Some people think that masks are stupid, and some people have other ideas. What I'm really focused on is what can I control and what can I do to best serve my life, and that's what this is going to be about today. As much as it would be awesome to live in a different time or a world where we don't have all of this going on, this is what we have going on right now. And the more that we can focus on taking care of ourselves, the more that these externalities will have less of an impact on us. So how can we feel healthy and strong and able? Well, let's see. It's snowing outside right now in London, Ontario. And we're probably going to have snow for the next 4 or so months off and on. What are some things to help with this cold season while we have a cold and flu and COVID season? Okay, first, when you wake up in the morning, are you hydrating? It's really easy to become dehydrated during the days, especially when we're so focused on looking at screens or working or getting busy with taking care of the house or families. And so what's really interesting is when it comes into the idea of hydration, as soon as we're 1% dehydrated, we can lose up to about 20 or so percent loss of metabolic capacity within the different metabolic processes that happen within our body. So that's a lot of science, or a lot of words right there. If we're not hydrated, our body has a harder time to do the things that it needs to do. So when you wake up in the morning, especially if it's cold, one nice thing that you can do is have some warm water, hopefully filtered or something, and maybe add a little bit of ginger or cayenne or cinnamon or all three, just to help get your body going, to provide what's necessary, aka water, after you sleep. And when we sleep, we lose about 500 milliliters or so of water. So as soon as you wake up, you really want to replenish around that much. And if you're one of those people who, when they wake up, they have a hard time with ingesting water, like, your stomach's a bit more sensitive, just take your time and slowly sip the water over the first little while. So what's another thing that you can do to help bulletproof yourself in this snowmageddon of colds and flus and COVIDs? Well, exposing yourself to the cold and to extreme heat, and I don't mean like putting yourself in the oven, has a lot of health benefits. So that's contrast showers of hot and cold. That's like literally going outside in the colds to go for a walk or to roll in the snow and then have a nice hot shower or bath after. or before and after if you want to be super luxurious about it. But when it comes into putting your body in the situation of hot and colds, it stimulates your heat shock proteins. It helps to produce more growth hormone, so it helps with recovery. And it also provides a good amount of anti-inflammatories for your body, as well as providing a mood and a cognition boost. And so far we got the importance of hydration, the importance of exposing yourself to elements. It's easy to forget that we have a body, and so these are ways to remember that we have a body, and the more that we can take care of that, the more that we can then take care of other things. And so what are you eating or drinking during this time? Well, the more that you're going to be eating processed foods and sugary foods, oily chip foods, the more stress or the more strain that you're going to be putting on your overall immune system and capacity to recover and to heal. And so making sure that you're eating whole foods, whether that's plant-based or not, that's okay. When it comes into eating real food, that's the important thing. It's probably way better to have like some fresh caught fish than it is to have a bag of potato chips, even though one is vegan and one is not. And taking your time to actually hibernate. It's funny how the natural world is pretty smart, and a lot of mammals are spending time in these days doing a little bit less. And this is a little bit of a tricky balance, because how can you find a healthy amount of hibernation and a healthy amount of activity in wintertime? I think that meditating, having a nap, doing yin yoga, restorative yoga, spending time in a hot tub for an hour or so, but taking away the stimulus of screens, taking away the stimulus of novels and books, and really being able to just be with your body and be in silence or be quiet, and to not move or to move very gently. I believe that those practices are very helpful, and also a part of the natural rhythm of things. In the summertime, we're probably up a little bit earlier, we're out a little bit later. There's a bit more energy because there's just more vitamin D, there's more sun going around. And so having constructive recovery or constructive hibernation, I find, is important. So again, that's, not watching screens for 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day, but actually just maybe like looking at a fire, spending time with your friends or family, being cozy. But don't just be cozy. You also still need to move a little bit. Becoming sedentary is one of the more challenging things that we see as modernity has taken over. Is a lot of people are very able to just sit down for several hours at a time and not move and just watch TV or be on their phone and watch TV at the same time. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying I'm a fucking perfect monk guy, but just things to keep in mind. Today's Monday, so yesterday was Sunday, and so it was a day where I went for a beautiful walk with a friend and had a beautiful supper with my family, and we played some video games together after supper, and it was really nice to have a cozy day. Everyone got to sleep in a little bit as well. But now that it's the beginning of the week, that's not gonna probably happen so much. One of the other interesting things when it comes into health and just keeping strong is, what are you drinking during the day? And so we talked about water being important, but what else are you drinking? Coffee? Are you drinking tea? Smoothies? This is a great time for you to really up your game when it comes into those beverages. A lot of people love lattes, and most people have blenders these days. And so, what are you adding to, say, like a morning latte or coffee? Are you adding grass-fed butter or coconut oil or some kind of good nut butter? Are you adding any herbs to it? Um, the the kind of standard coffee that we have around our house um, is anything along the lines of like grass-fed butter, coconut oil, MCT oil, collagen, pumpkin puree, maca, chaga, lion's mane, reishi, other medicinal mushrooms, tahini, and like cashew butter and almond butter, and like rhodiola at times. And just know that when it comes into your like morning smoothies or lattes, you can really feel free to add in any of those things that really help. Because it does make a big difference. Having just a regular coffee with sugar and milk is one thing, but like having a coconut oil, MCT oil, grass-fed butter coffee with lion's mane and cordyceps, like, geez, that's a big difference in how you're going to feel after. You're probably going to feel really satiated and also raring to go, and not just feeling like, you had a coffee and you should feel good. You actually can feel good adding a couple other extra things in there. So yeah, that's something that's also helpful is adding a lot of good adaptogenic herbs and high quality fats to smoothies or coffees. And then how is your sleep? It's when people become a bit more sedentary because it's colder outside. It's easy to have a bit more of a restless sleep. Because if we're not moving enough, then it's going to be a bit harder to fall asleep. And now that we live in a world where CBD is legal, something like CBD can really help previous to bed. Same thing with contrast showers. That can really help as well. Taking anything that has GABA precursors. GABA is a neural inhibitor, so it's in tea to a certain capacity. It's in like chamomile tea, passion flower, I think ashwagandha as well. And so taking those before bed, whether it's a chamomile tea, a lavender tea, that can be really helpful. And if you're going to stack a little bit of passion flower, chamomile, or lavender with some CBD, that can really get you set up for an awesome sleep. I also recommend doing some breath practice, whether it's square breath, doing a restorative yoga posture or two, like pigeon pose or legs up the wall. All of those things can really help to set yourself up for an awesome sleep. I find it's pretty easy for a lot of people to kind of just feel exhausted after a long day and then go to bed and then hope that they'll fall asleep. But your self-care routine can really be a time where you can nourish yourself, so that when you do finally hit the pillow, that you're just gonna fall asleep even easier, be restful for even longer. One of the meditations that I have on this YouTube channel is actually a 30-minute guided relaxation. And last week or 2 weeks ago, I got the feedback from one of the listeners that her and her boyfriend have been listening to it every single night, and that they've slept better with that than they've had the entire COVID experience, which now is like at 9 months or 10 months or something. And so that guided relaxation can be helpful, as well as stacking those different herbs and CBD. I'm still not the most versed on CBD specifically. I've never been like a cannabis person, but from my understanding, you can take pretty high levels of CBD, and it won't really have much of a negative impact on the morning. The one that I take is a pretty like low level amount of CBD, and I think I take around like 50 milligrams per dropper. It's not wildly noticeable, but any kind of aches or pains that are going on definitely decrease. So yeah, how to bulletproof yourself during this winter COVID experience. Make sure that you're hydrated. Super important. Whatever you're putting into your morning coffee, your tea, or smoothie, make it as healthy as you can. Don't forget to go outside. It's okay to expose yourself to hot and cold. And like what's nice about being in Canada, which where I'm from, it's pretty easy to just go for like a 10-minute walk, and you're exposing yourself to the colds is just a pretty it can be a very invigorating experience. Don't forget about a good sleep routine and good sleep hygiene. So are you meditating? Are you journaling? Are you putting your legs up the wall? Again, hot and cold showers can really help. CBD and taking, whether it's chamomile, lavender, passion flower, skullcap, anything that has those GABA precursors. And with all that in mind, thank you for listening. Feel free to reach out. Let me know how you liked the podcast. If you have any questions, just please reach out. And hope you're having a great day, and that you have a great rest of your day. Peace.